Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome, brothers and sisters. This is Ihsan. And this video is entitled 5 Key Benefits of Islamic Meditation. So what I'm going to discuss are 5 essential benefits that one gets, one derives, one benefits from through Islamic meditation. Before I jump into this topic, I do want to point out I've got a very important time-sensitive announcement at the end of this video, so do hang around and make sure you catch that. It is time-sensitive, so make sure you get a chance to listen in and take advantage of what's going on. So let's jump into it. The 5 key benefits, 5 essential, 5 fundamental benefits of Islamic meditation. Before we can jump into this topic, before we can answer this question, very briefly, now I've got a lot of videos on this topic, on the topic of meditation in general and Islamic meditation, but very briefly, for those of you who may not have seen this or may not be familiar with my work, what is Islamic meditation? Let's first define what Islamic meditation actually means. And before we can define Islamic meditation, let's define what we mean by meditation. Quite simply, very briefly, meditation, as I would describe it, is essentially the practice, the art, the discipline of surrender, of learning to relax, both physically, psychologically, spiritually, completely surrendering and submitting to what is in this moment and being able to enter into a deep state of relaxation, a deep state of presence, a pure state of just being. This is the most primordial and excellent state of existence, state of being, just beingness itself. No will, no activity, no movement, just stillness, surrender. Now, if you're familiar with my work, or if you're familiar with the spirituality of Islam and what Islam actually means, you begin to see right away that meditation itself is fundamentally an Islamic practice, because the very religion of Islam means to surrender. Not just to surrender and to submit outwardly and externally in our actions and our behavior, but also to surrender inwardly in our state, in our psycho-spiritual state of being. Now, Islamic meditation is fundamentally different from other approaches to meditation, primarily based on its intention and its methodology. First and foremost, the intention is to attain to reach to progress towards the divine presence and pleasure of God. All of Islam is based on the worship, the love of God. And so the purpose of Islamic meditation, first and foremost, is the attainment of the presence, connection to, communion with, nearness to, awakening to the divine presence of God, and thereby also attaining to his pleasure. Because as he revealed through our Prophet ﷺ, that a fundamentally key aspect, the purpose of creation, is to know the Creator, to know our Lord. And so this is the goal of Islamic meditation, one of the main goals of Islamic meditation. And that then becomes the intention for one's practice. And secondly, the methodology. Essential Islamic meditation is fundamentally simple. It goes down to the essence of what meditation is: pure surrender, pure submission, pure, absolute, unconditional surrender and submission, and thus relaxation, and so spiritual awakening. There are aspects that are incorporated, that can be incorporated into Islamic meditation, such as dhikr, which is the recitation, the remembrance of God's divine names and attributes. Also affirmations. These are all topics that we discuss in the Islamic meditation program. So affirmations and reminders to help heal and balance our mind, our paradigm, our thoughts, and our beliefs. And also visualization. Visualization which can be used to augment one's experience, to amplify one's intention in meditation. Okay, so the 5 benefits, the 5 key benefits of Islamic meditation. First, number 1, brain health. The science is in. We know now with certainty that meditation is profoundly beneficial for the health of one's brain, of the mind. Typically, the mind is extremely busy. We're thinking all the time. And if we don't learn to rest throughout life and living over the years, we become compulsive thinkers. We have no rest. The brain is always active. It's always thinking. This leads to all kinds of other problems and complications. Mental health issues, psychological problems, as well as insomnia, not to mention the untold effects of stress and anxiety on the brain. So much of meditation has to deal with energy, freeing, liberating, healing ourselves inwardly through the releasing of energy, of pent-up energy, of stagnant energy. By relinquishing resistance, learning to surrender and to submit, to relax, we free up energy. We allow blockages to dissolve, and this then affects the health of the brain, of the mind. In fact, meditation is profoundly healing for the entire body. And that then brings us to the second benefit of Islamic meditation, the health of the body, body health. So many health problems are aggravated by stress, by constant and chronic fear, worry, anxiety. Over the last few years, we've just dealt with the whole COVID pandemic. And unfortunately, so much fear was part of this experience. And studies showed that the second most significant factor in complicated COVID reactions and experiences was fear-related disorders, chronic stress, chronic anxiety, chronic fear. Based on the study, this resulted in a nearly 30% increase in complicated COVID cases, serious COVID cases. The number one complicating factor was obesity. So we know this, people have talked about that if a person is obese, they have a much higher chance of a complicated experience with COVID and, God forbid, dying from the disease. The number one complicating factor was obesity. But what people didn't speak about was the second most significant factor in complications from COVID, and that was fear-related disorders. When we don't know how to relax, when we don't know how to surrender, how to just be and let go, we end up storing in our body years of tension and countless experiences of trauma that get stored in our bodies. These get stored in our tissues, in our organs, in our very cells. And all of this pent up, unresolved, unhealed energy, stagnant energy, blocked energy within the system, if not dealt with, ultimately will manifest as physical disease. So the second benefit of Islamic meditation, of learning to surrender, to submit, to relax, to let go, to believe, is the health of the body. The third benefit of Islamic meditation, the health of the heart, heart health. And by this, I mean not just the physical heart, but also the emotional heart, the spiritual heart, emotional health and well-being. Again, when we have so much unresolved experiences, trauma, pain, stress, worry, anxiety, just stuck in our systems, this results in a constant state of aggravation and unease, a state of dis-ease. But by learning to meditate, by learning to surrender, to trust, to believe, to relax, to let go, these things begin to become resolved. Healing begins to become possible. We in fact open ourselves from this state of contraction to a state of expansion, to a state of openness through which we can then receive the divine presence, light, and healing power from our Lord Most High, Allah Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And this then brings us to the fourth benefit of Islamic meditation, which is spirituality, spiritual development. Going back and remembering that the purpose of religion and of life is to ascend, to evolve, to awaken, ultimately to come into contact and communion, to know our Creator. Meditation is an indispensable part of one's spiritual practice. And this was the practice of the Holy Prophet of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He would retreat into a cave for days at a time in meditation, in reflection, in presence, in stillness, in beingness, in surrender, opening his heart, opening his soul to connect with the presence of the divine, with eternity and with truth. We as Muslims especially, and all people of faith, all people of spirituality seeking spiritual awakening and development, must maintain a practice that every spiritual master has emphasized: meditative practice, presence practice, a surrendering practice. And this is the essence of spiritual development, being able to and learning how to surrender. And not just surrender in practice, but then to be able to surrender in our lives, to take that practice and be able to apply it to the other areas of our life when challenges arise, when triggers arise, when trials arise, when hardships and difficulties manifest. We then have to be able, we have got to have cultivated the ability and the capacity to be anchored, to be rooted, to be clear, to be calm, and so to be able to make effective decisions, positive decisions, take positive and constructive action rather than reactive action, which is usually destructive and catastrophic, which usually results in making problems worse. And this then brings us to the fifth benefit of Islamic meditation, and that is success. Practical success, not just success in the world beyond and in our spiritual lives, but also success in our practical lives, success in this world. So much of our potential, so much of our abilities and capacities are compromised because we are constantly under chronic stress, because the mind is always distracted by fear. So much of our energy is being diverted to constant worrying, to constant fear, to the lack of presence. The most effective thing a human being can do to be successful in any area of life is to become present, to be able to be present in the here and now, and to have all of their faculties, all of their abilities, all of their potential, all of their capacity available here and now. It's normally not the case. Our mind is always somewhere in the distance. We're always thinking about possible outcomes, what may or may not happen. And that always creates a degree of fear that always compromises our ability to succeed here and now. when we're struggling with fear and anxiety and worry about the future, or even grief and pain from the past, we are compromised in the present. We're not able to be effective in the present, not as effective. And so we usually get results that are far from what is possible. Yet by learning to become present, anchored, rooted, surrendered, still, quiet, clear, calm, we can make effective decisions. We can take effective action. Not just intelligent action, but also physical action. The greatest impediment to survival in any situation is fear. By freeing the mind from fear and from the future, as well as from the past, the grief and the traumas and pains and failures of the past, we become fully present in the here and now, and most effective, most capable of succeeding now in anything and everything that we do, in anything that's happening. And then this success then translates to every area of our lives, whether it's a physical situation, whether it's a relational issue that's going on, whether it's a business situation that's going on with our career or business where we've got to make decisions or act. That ability then translates to success in all areas of our lives. Okay, so briefly, the 5 key benefits of Islamic meditation. Number 1, the health of the brain. Number 2, the health of the body. Number 3, the health of the heart, of our emotions, of our state. Number 4, our spirituality and spiritual development. And number 5, success. Practical and worldly success, as well as success in the world beyond. Inshallah, brothers and sisters, with God's will and grace, you find this information useful and beneficial. And if you don't have a meditative practice, hopefully encouraging to begin establishing a daily meditative practice. Now, regarding that, we're now almost at the end of this current calendar year, 1443 in the Hijri calendar. Just a few more days left. And so we're running a short and brief promotion on the Islamic Meditation Program. The Islamic Meditation Program is the most comprehensive program and meditative practice within the Islamic faith, religion, and context. And so in order to end this current calendar year on a positive note, and more importantly, to begin the next 1444 with the holy month of Muharram, which begins in just a few days, we're doing a special promotion on the Islamic Meditation Program. The full 6-week program, it's a multimedia course with complete and comprehensive video training, some 18 audio soundtracks to help you and support you when you're beginning your practice, a guidebook and documentation, private member site, and you can learn more about this at the link below, or simply go to borderpoint.com/Islamic meditation, or you can also go straight to islamicmeditation.com and it will redirect to the right page. If you're not yet a member of this leading edge course in Islamic meditation and meditative spiritual practice within the faith, this would be the best time to take advantage. May Allah Almighty bless you, support you, guide us all to what is best and what is most blessed, to His divine presence and to His pleasure, to your divine and eternal success. Fi aman Allah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.